On the eve of our wedding, my fiancé Marcus swore he was going to take care of the mess from the bachelor party. I waited until 3 in the morning before he finally returned, reeking of alcohol. "I'm sorry, baby," he slurred, holding me. "My buddies drank too much and insisted I play truth or dare." "What did the loser have to do?" I asked softly, my fingers tracing the suggestive red mark on his neck. His body tensed, then he chuckled softly. "What else? 3 penalty drinks, of course. Why else would I be this drunk?" I nodded, then slapped a photo onto his chest. "Funny, your moon goddess also lost. Her punishment was to kiss the richest man there." Marcus's smile froze on his face. He looked down, and in the dim light of the bedside lamp, he saw what the photo depicted. The photo was taken in a luxurious club's VIP room, bathed in the intoxicating glow of neon lights and blurred by the hazy atmosphere. His moon goddess, Chloe, was on her tiptoes, her arms wrapped around his neck, kissing him passionately and intensely. And he, Marcus, my fiancé, was openly accepting the kiss, his hand even resting on Chloe's waist. Around them, his so-called best buddies all had mocking grins, clearly enjoying the spectacle. "Who gave you this?" Marcus's voice was instantly sober, laced with panic. "Does it matter?" I pulled the photo away, my fingertip tracing the fresh hickey on his neck. "You played truth or dare quite intensely." He grabbed my wrist, his grip terrifyingly strong. "Grace, don't be unreasonable. It was just a game." "A game?" I shook off his hand, stood up, and looked down at him. "Marcus, our wedding is tomorrow. You call this a game?" His eyes flickered, his initial shock turning into furious embarrassment. "What else? Are you going to ruin our wedding over a single photo, a game? Do you have any sense? You let another woman kiss you, and you expect me to be sensible?" My heart felt as if it had been plunged into an ice chamber, a chilling cold sea ping through me. Marcus took a deep breath, seemingly trying to suppress something. He sat up from the bed, attempting to embrace me again. "Baby, I was wrong. I shouldn't have played that game with her. But you know Chloe, she's always been like that since childhood, so carefree, like one of the guys. We're just like siblings, pure platonic friendship." "Platonic friendship?" I repeated the words, finding them utterly ironic. "Pure enough to be kissing on the eve of our wedding?" My words rendered him speechless, his face flushing then paling. His phone rang at an inconvenient moment, 2 words flashing on the screen. "Chloe." Marcus acted as if he'd been burned, abruptly hanging up the call. "Who was that?" I asked, though I knew perfectly well. "A debt collector, wrong number." He lied without batting an eye. I looked at him, and suddenly felt a profound sense of disillusionment. 3 years of feelings, thoughtful care, and solemn vows, it all turned out to be a castle built on sand. I turned, opened the closet, and began to pack my things. "What are you doing?" Marcus panicked, hugging me from behind. "Grace, stop this. We need to wake up early for makeup tomorrow. Go to sleep. Marcus, we're over." My voice was calm. He held me tighter, his chin resting on my shoulder, his tone one of familiar persuasion. All right, it's all my fault. I swear I won't see Chloe again, okay? So many guests are coming tomorrow, where would our family's reputations be?" He was always like this, putting his reputation, his family legacy, and his interests first. As for my feelings, they never seemed to be a concern of his. Suddenly, there was an urgent knocking at the door. "Marcus." "Grace. Are you asleep?" It was my future mother-in-law, Eleanor. Marcus seemed to receive a reprieve, immediately letting go of me and rushing to open the door. "Mom, it's so late. Why are you here?" Eleanor stormed in, her scrutinizing gaze sweeping over me first, then she pulled Marcus to check him over from head to toe. "I heard you drank too much with friends. I was worried, so I came to check." Oh my, the smell of alcohol. She dramatically fanned her nose, then her eyes fell on my open suitcase, her face darkening. "Grace, what are you doing? It's the middle of the night, aren't you sleeping? Are you trying to run away?" I couldn't be bothered to explain to her. Eleanor, however, wouldn't let it go. She slammed my suitcase shut, assuming an air of superiority. "Between a husband and wife, arguments in bed are settled by morning. Marcus is young and a bit playful. As his fiancé, you should be more magnanimous and understanding. The wedding is tomorrow. Are you trying to make a scene now and utterly disgrace our family?" Every word she spoke was like a needle, precisely jabbing at my most vulnerable spot. I sneered. "He was kissing another woman, and you think I should be magnanimous?" Eleanor froze for a moment, then looked at Marcus. Marcus's eyes darted away. Eleanor understood immediately, but her reaction exceeded my expectations. Instead of reprimanding her son, she turned to me, her tone growing even more acidic and biting. What man doesn't have some social obligations outside the home? It's just for show. Holding on to such a small matter shows you lack composure. The daughter-in-law our family needs is someone who can handle social situations with grace, not a petty, jealous woman. Look at your own background. You married up. Don't be ungrateful. Her absurd statements actually made me laugh with anger. This was the family I was about to marry into. A son incapable of remorse, a mother who twisted facts. They're two peas in a pod. I'm not going through with this wedding. What did you say? Eleanor's voice instantly rose, sharp and piercing. Marcus also grew anxious, stepping forward to grab me. Grace, don't listen to my mom's nonsense. She's just too stressed. I'm talking nonsense? Eleanor shoved Marcus aside, pointing her finger at my nose and scolding, which part was wrong? Grace, let me tell you, how much money did our family spend on this wedding? How many influential people did we invite? You just say you're not getting married? What do you think our family's reputation is? Can you bear the responsibility for this? I looked at her face, contorted with rage, my heart perfectly calm. My responsibilities, I will naturally bear. As for your family's reputation, I cannot, nor do I wish to, bear it. I pushed Marcus, who was blocking my way, and walked out, dragging my suitcase. You're out of control. Eleanor chased after me, infuriated, snatched my suitcase, and threw it directly onto the floor. The suitcase burst open with a thud, its contents scattering across the floor. If you dare walk out that door today, tomorrow I'll make sure you and your humble family can't survive in Northwood, she threatened, her voice severe. Marcus stood by, helpless, only able to stammer, Mom, please stop. Grace, don't be angry. The entire scene was like an absurd farce. I looked at the scattered clothes on the floor, the white gown I had prepared for our honeymoon now sullied with a dirty footprint. It was my own footprint. I had accidentally stepped on it when I retreated. I bent down, picked up the dress, and slowly brushed off the dust. Then, I looked up at Eleanor. All right, I said. I won't leave. Eleanor and Marcus both froze. They thought I had given in. Eleanor's face showed a triumphant expression. That's more like it. Hurry and pack your things. Dress up beautifully tomorrow, don't embarrass me. Marcus also breathed a sigh of relief, walking over and trying to take my hand. Baby, I knew you loved me the most. I dodged his hand and walked directly to the sofa, sitting down. The wedding will proceed as planned, I said. Eleanor's expression became even more satisfied. She even condescended to pat my shoulder. Now that's what I like to hear. Don't worry, once you're officially ally part of our family, I won't mistreat you. I ignored her, simply pulled out my phone, and dialed a number. Hello, Dad. On the other end of the line, my father's steady voice came through. Grace, it's so late. Aren't you asleep yet? Dad, please come early to the wedding tomorrow. Also, help me prepare a gift. I want to give the Marcus family a grand present at the wedding. My voice wasn't loud, but in the quiet living room, it was clear enough for Eleanor and Marcus to hear perfectly. Their smug expressions instantly froze. A flicker of unease crossed Marcus's eyes. Grace, what are you going to do? I hung up the phone and gave him a smile utterly devoid of warmth. You'll find out tomorrow. The next day, at the wedding venue, I sat in the dressing room, wearing the custom wedding gown reportedly worth $1 million, looking at my exquisitely applied makeup in the mirror, my heart completely calm. The makeup artist was still exclaiming, Miss, you truly are the most beautiful bride I've ever seen. I said nothing. The door opened, and Chloe walked in, wearing a pink cocktail dress. She had dressed with particular care today, her makeup was flawless, and her smile was sweet. One might have mistaken her for the bride. Grace, I came to see you. Are you ready? She walked over familiarly, as if nothing had happened last night. I watched her in the mirror. Why are you here? Marcus was worried about you, so he asked me to keep you company. She said it as if it were obvious, then picked up a glass of red wine from the table. Oh, you must be so nervous, right? Have some wine to relax. Saying this, she walked towards me. Then, just as she got close to me, her hand accidentally slipped. A full glass of red wine, perfectly aimed, splashed all over the pristine white skirt of my wedding dress. The striking red quickly spread across the white fabric. Ah! Chloe let out an exaggerated shriek. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Grace. I really didn't mean to. She apologized with her mouth, but her eyes gleamed with schadenfreude. The makeup artist and assistant were stunned, frantically trying to clean it up. Don't touch it, I said coldly. I stood up, looking at the glaring red stain on the skirt. This wedding gown was personally designed for me by my mother, one of a kind in the world. Now, it was ruined. Just then, Eleanor and Marcus also rushed in, having heard the commotion. The moment Eleanor entered and saw the scene, her first reaction wasn't concern for the dress, but to point at me and scold me furiously. "What did you do? You couldn't even keep such an expensive wedding dress safe. Are you deliberately trying to make us a laughingstock?" Chloe immediately squeezed out a few tears, shrinking behind Marcus, looking wronged. "Auntie, it's not Grace's fault, it's mine. I accidentally spilled the wine." Marcus tenderly put his arm around her shoulder, comforting her softly. "It's okay, Chloe. It's not your fault, just an accident." After comforting Chloe, he finally turned to me, his brow deeply furrowed. "All right, stop standing there. Go change into the backup dress quickly. Don't delay the auspicious time." His tone was full of impatience and entitlement. As if it wasn't his moon goddess who had stained the dress, but me. As if the unfairness I experienced was just me being unreasonable. I looked at the three of them. One feigning innocence, one twisting facts, one showing blatant favoritism. What a truly spectacular family. "All right," I said, nodding calmly. "I'll go change." I turned and walked towards the changing room. Behind me, I could hear Eleanor whispering to Chloe, "You're so sensible. Unlike some people, who are petty and can't handle a bit of discomfort." I could also hear Marcus gently telling Chloe, "Don't cry. Your makeup will run, and you won't look pretty. Just wait." The real show was just beginning. The wedding march began to play, solemn and grand. The hall was filled with guests, and camera flashes popped intermittently. Marcus stood at the end of the red carpet, in a sharp suit, a triumphant smile on his face. He probably thought I had caved, that I would dutifully complete this wedding, which brought him such prestige, wearing the cheap backup dress. He and his mother were chatting cheerfully with Northwood's business elite, basking in their envious glances. The MC delivered his opening remarks in an enthusiastic voice. "Now, let's welcome our most beautiful bride today, Miss, with our warmest applause." All the lights focused on the entrance. The grand doors slowly opened. I walked out. But I didn't walk towards the red carpet. Instead, I headed directly for the stage. I was still wearing the wedding dress stained with red wine. The striking red stain on the skirt looked particularly ironic under the spotlight. The entire hall erupted in an uproar. Guests whispered and murmured amongst themselves. Marcus's smile froze. He looked at me, his eyes filled with shock and fury. Eleanor's face turned ghastly. She quickly rushed to the stage, whispering fiercely at me, "Grace. Are you crazy? Get down." Ignoring her, I took the microphone from the MC. "Hello everyone, I am today's bride, Grace." My voice, amplified by the sound system, clearly echoed throughout the entire banquet hall. "I apologize, but today's wedding might disappoint everyone." Marcus rushed onto the stage, trying to snatch the microphone from me. "Grace, stop this. We can talk about this at home." I sidestepped him, giving a faint smile to the audience. "Before I cancel the wedding, I'd like to show everyone something. Consider it a wedding gift from me to the Marcus family." I snapped my fingers. The massive LED screen behind me instantly lit up. The screen didn't display sweet photos of the couple, but rather a high-definition video. The scene in the video was precisely the club's VIP room from last night. In the footage, Marcus and Chloe were surrounded by a group of people. Someone loudly heckled, "Truth or dare?" Chloe lost. "Her punishment is to kiss the richest man here." Another person immediately chimed in, "Is that even a question? Of course it's our groom-to-be, Marcus. He's about to marry the Grace family's heiress, his net worth is skyrocketing. Soon he'll be Northwood's wealthiest man." Marcus wore a triumphant smile on his face and didn't deny it. Chloe gave him a coy glance, then, under everyone's gaze, she stood on her tiptoes and kissed him. It wasn't a fleeting kiss. It was lingering and passionate, filled with possessiveness. Marcus even closed his eyes, clearly enjoying it. The entire hall fell into a deathly silence. Everyone's gaze shifted from the screen to Marcus, pale-faced on stage, and to Chloe, in her pink dress in the audience, looking as though she wanted the ground to swallow her whole. The video continued. After the kiss, the camera zoomed in, clearly recording their conversation. Chloe leaned into Marcus's arms, asking in a cutesy voice, "Marcus, when are you finally going to break it off with Grace?" Marcus stroked her hair, his voice so tender it could melt. "Soon, baby. After the wedding, once our family's assets are linked, her dad's failing company will still need our family to bail them out. By then, even if she finds out, she'll just have to accept your presence." I know it's hard for you, but just bear with it a little longer. The video stopped abruptly there, the image frozen on Marcus's face, filled with calculation and deceit. Eleanor's face was beyond description, it was a kaleidoscope of emotions. She pointed at me, her lips trembling, unable to utter a single word. The guests in the audience completely erupted. Oh my God! Is this true? Marcus, the young master, is really this kind of person? That's disgusting. Cheating before the wedding and planning to usurp the bride's family assets? Who's that woman? The other woman dares to attend the wedding? All the whispers were like sharp piercing Marcus and his family. I held the microphone, looking at Marcus, whose face was ashen below the stage, and slowly spoke, my voice cold and clear. Marcus, game over. Now, let's discuss who is truly the richest man in this room. As my words fell, the entire hall plunged into an eerie silence once more. Everyone's gaze focused on me, filled with doubt and scrutiny. Marcus looked as if all the strength had drained from him, his lips moved, but no sound came out. His gaze at me was filled with terror, as if he were looking at a complete stranger. Eleanor finally snapped out of her shock, she frantically rushed onto the stage, trying to claw at me. You despicable woman! How dare you ruin my son's wedding? I'll fight you. Two security guards, who had been waiting nearby, immediately stepped forward and restrained her, one on each side. Eleanor struggled wildly, spewing vile curses. You schemed against us. You manipulative, venomous woman. Our family won't let you get away with this. I watched her tantrum with cold eyes, then shifted my gaze to the main table in the first row of the audience. Dad. My father, who had been sitting silently there, slowly stood up. He didn't look at the hysterical Eleanor, nor at the distraught Marcus. He only looked at me, his eyes filled with concern and support. Then, he picked up the microphone from the table, walked onto the stage, and stood beside me. Most people in Northwood's business community knew my father, William. In their eyes, my father ran a moderately successful industrial company, was low-key, and had substantial wealth. But compared to a new rich family like the Marcus family, who built their fortune on real estate and finance and loved to socialize and show off, he seemed to be lacking something. This was also the basis for Eleanor's long-held belief that my family had married up by associating with them. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, my father's voice was steady and powerful, instantly quieting the noise. I am Grace's father, William. I apologize for everyone having to witness such a farce today. Taking this opportunity, there are two things I'd like to clarify. He paused, his gaze sweeping over the ashen-faced Marcus. Firstly, my daughter, Grace, has never needed to marry up for anyone. And our family has never had any intention of engaging in any so-called asset binding with the Marcus family. Secondly, he looked at Marcus, his gaze suddenly turning sharp. Mr. Marcus mentioned in the video that my failing company needed the Marcus family to bail it out. Marcus's body trembled violently. My father chuckled, his laughter filled with disdain and mockery. Coincidentally, I've indeed been considering an investment recently. The target of that investment is the renowned Global. The moment the words global were uttered, a collective gasp filled the hall. Especially the business elites, whose faces all showed expressions of shock. Global is the nation's top investment firm, with a mysterious background and immense power. Its investments are almost always successful, making it the key investor countless companies desperately want to court. Meanwhile, Marcus's family company, Marcus, had recently faced a broken capital chain due to a project, begging everyone for help. The biggest powerhouse they wanted to align with was precisely Global. A director familiar with the Marcus family couldn't help but stand up and ask, Mr. Shin, what is your relationship with Global? My father glanced at him indifferently and uttered a few words. Oh, I am the founder and chairman of Global. Everyone was stunned. My father, William, the industrial magnate they saw as low-key, unassuming, and even a bit unfashionable, was actually the elusive, mysterious titan who controlled a multi-billion-dollar capital empire? This twist was more thrilling than any movie. Marcus was utterly dumbfounded. He stumbled back 2 steps and collapsed onto the floor, his face devoid of color. He had always believed he was helping the poor, thinking that by marrying Grace, he could control her family's company. He never imagined that the small pond in his eyes was actually a boundless ocean. The prey he intended to scheme against was, in fact, the predator at the top of the food chain. Eleanor's cursing stopped. Restrained by the security guards, she looked at my father in disbelief, her mouth agape. She finally understood that the in-law she had always looked down upon and casually insulted was an entity she wasn't even qualified to look up to. and her proud son, in their eyes, was nothing but a clown. Most spectacular, perhaps, was Chloe's expression. Her face was deathly pale as she looked at my father and me, radiant on stage, then at Marcus, utterly dejected on the floor. Her so-called love, her chosen potential stalk, instantly became a colossal joke. The man she kissed was not the richest man at all, but a fraud on the verge of bankruptcy. I walked up to Marcus, squatted down, and placed the crumpled photo back into his hand. Do you see clearly now? This is what they call punching above his weight. That unfinished wedding became Northwood's high society's biggest joke of the year. The family's reputation was publicly torn apart, thrown on the ground, and brutally trampled into the mud. As soon as the wedding ended, the Marcus family's stocks plummeted. All the banks and institutions that had been willing to lend to the Marcus family because of the impending marriage immediately changed their tune, showing up to demand repayment. Everyone kicked a man when he's down. All sorts of scandals related to the Marcus, tax evasion, shoddy construction projects, bribery, were dug up. In just a week, the once glorious Marcus family declared bankruptcy, its liabilities exceeding its assets. Their mansions were sealed, and luxury cars auctioned off. Eleanor couldn't handle the shock. It was said she suffered a stroke on the spot and was hospitalized, partially paralyzed. As for Marcus, he fell from the clouds into the mud, burdened with massive debts, becoming a social outcast that everyone condemned. He came to find me. One rainy evening, he waited outside my villa, soaked to the bone, looking haggard and utterly disheveled. When he saw me drive back, he rushed forward like a madman and knelt in front of my car. "Grace, I was wrong. I was truly wrong," he cried bitterly, slapping himself. "It's all my fault. I was deluded. I was a scoundrel. Please forgive me, okay? Ask your father to let our family go, please." I sat in the car, watching him dispassionately through the wipers and glass. "My dad didn't do anything. It was your greed that ruined yourselves." He cried even harder, trying to pull open my car door. "No. It was you. You ruined me. Grace, how could you be so heartless? Don't you care about our 3 years together at all?" See? Even at this point, he was still blaming me. I rolled up the window and drove straight into the courtyard, leaving him and his cries isolated beyond the cold iron gate. As for Chloe, her fate wasn't much better. The wedding video made her Northwood's most infamous other woman. She was fired from her previous company, her reputation ruined, and everywhere she went, people pointed fingers at her. She also came to find me. She didn't cry and make a scene. Instead, she waited outside my company building, wearing delicate makeup, but her eyes were full of venom. "Grace, you must be very pleased with yourself, aren't you? Watching us suffer so terribly, do you feel a great sense of accomplishment?" I looked at her, finding it somewhat amusing. "Why should I be pleased? Wasting my emotions on people like you isn't worth it." My words stung her, and her face turned pale. "Don't pretend. You're deliberately enjoying my misery. Do you think you've won? All you've gained is a man who doesn't love you. Marcus loves me. He always has." She was still clinging to that ridiculous love. I didn't want to argue with her any longer and turned to leave. But behind me, she screamed hysterically, "Just you wait. I won't let you have an easy life. You ruined everything for me, and I'll ruin you too." I didn't look back, because I knew she no longer had any leverage to ruin me. A week later, I heard something. In an attempt to get revenge on me and quickly turn her life around, Chloe got involved with the son of a competitor of our company, a notorious playboy. She exaggeratedly told the man everything she knew about the business information Marcus had tried to extract from me, hoping to use it as leverage to bring my family down. What she didn't know, however, was that the information Marcus knew was all false or semi-false, deliberately fed to him by me. And that playboy wasn't as foolish as she thought. While pretending to use Chloe, he widely publicized her actions as a joke within his social circle. Chloe's dream was shattered once again. She became the new laughingstock of that circle, and after the playboy grew tired of her, he ruthlessly cast her aside. Later, I last saw news of her in a social bulletin. "Woman for multiple of fraud and extortion." In the photo, she was handcuffed and bowed her head, utterly devoid of her former radiance. You reap what you sow. This farce finally concluded with everyone paying their due. Time is the best healer. A year later, I rarely thought about Marcus or those unpleasant events anymore. I took over a subsidiary of our family group, starting from the ground up, and my days were busy and fulfilling. With my own abilities, I secured one project after another, proving that I wasn't just a pampered heiress living in my father's shadow. My life got back on track, and was even more vibrant than before. One day, I attended a charity gala on behalf of my company. At the gala, I encountered someone unexpected. It was Marcus's former good buddy, Ethan, who had also sent me that video. P.S. Me, paused for a moment, then approached somewhat awkwardly. Mississippi, Mississippi. Mr. Ethan. I nodded at him, my demeanor neither warm nor cold. Although his actions had objectively helped me at the time, I knew very well that his intentions weren't benevolent. He merely wanted to use me to get rid of his rival in love, Marcus. I didn't expect to run into you here, Ethan said, rubbing his hands, seemingly a bit nervous. Are you doing well lately? I'm doing very well, thank you for asking. That's good, that's good. He gave a dry chuckle, hesitated for a moment, then spoke. Did you hear about Marcus? I raised an eyebrow slightly. I heard he owed too much to loan sharks, couldn't pay it back, and got his legs broken. Now he's in a small rural town, relying on his mom pushing him in a wheelchair to pick up trash for a living. Ethan's tone held no sympathy, only a sense of relish at the misfortune. I said nothing. And, he continued, I heard she's not doing well in there and had her sentence extended. Her life is pretty much ruined. After he finished speaking, he carefully observed my expression, seemingly hoping to see some satisfaction from revenge on my face. However, I merely took a calm sip of champagne. Those people, those events, to me, felt like something from a past life. I wouldn't pity them, but I also couldn't be bothered to waste any more emotions on them. Seeing my indifferent reaction, Ethan felt somewhat embarrassed and quickly made an excuse to leave. After the gala, I walked alone to the hotel's terrace for some fresh air. The night was beautiful, the city's neon lights flowing beneath me. My phone rang, it was my father calling. Grace, are you finished? Should send a driver to pick you up? No need, Dad. I'll drive myself home, I said, smiling. You get some rest. All right, drive safely. I hung up the phone and looked at the photo of my parents and me on my phone screen, feeling a warmth spread through my heart. I had he almost fallen into an abyss because of a failed relationship. But fortunately, I regained my senses in time. Even more fortunately, I always had my loving, supportive family behind me. Footsteps approached. I turned around and saw a man in a black suit walking towards me, holding 2 glasses of wine. He was tall, with a strong build, sharp features, and a composed demeanor. He was Nathaniel, the president of the Ford, the host of tonight's charity gala, and a key business partner our company was currently negotiating with. He was known in the industry for his keen insight and decisive methods, a truly formidable figure. Miss, do you mind if I interrupt? His voice was deep and pleasant. Mr. Ford, you're too kind. He handed me a glass of wine, then leaned against the railing himself, standing beside me. Miss, you are radiant tonight. He looked at the distant night view, the lines of his profile looking exceptionally captivating in the moonlight. You flatter me, Mr. Ford. We were silent for a moment, yet the atmosphere wasn't awkward. I heard about the Marcus family's situation, he suddenly said. I turned my head to look at him. You handled it very well, Mississippi. He turned his head, his dark eyes reflecting the scattered starlight, and my own image. One shouldn't go easy on trash. I hadn't expected him to be so direct, and I couldn't help but smile faintly. It seems Mr. Ford is also a man of strong character. He smiled too, the crinkling at the corners of his eyes softening his entire demeanor considerably. I simply believe that kindness should be reserved for those who deserve it. He raised his glass, gesturing towards me. To the brave and clear-headed Mississippi. I raised my glass and gently clinked it against his. The crisp clinking of glass sounded particularly melodious in the quiet night. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your opinions, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.